20 forgotten home features that are seriously cool and why they vanished. Ever found odd things in old houses, like tiny doors or mystery buttons? You're not alone. Older homes had cool, now vanished features solving everyday problems before modern tech. We're exploring 20 of these, their purpose, and their disappearance. Share your experiences in the comments. Built-in phone nooks, a dedicated space for communication. Let's step inside and consider something that seems incredibly quaint now, the built-in phone nook. Before smartphones and Wi-Fi, landline telephones were essential, and they weren't sleek gadgets. These were bulky devices, often wall-mounted, with separate earpieces and rotary dials. These early phones demanded dedicated space, hence the phone nook. These were small, recessed alcoves or shelves, typically built into a hallway or near the living room. They were perfectly sized for the phone itself and, importantly, the phone book. Remember those massive directories? Essential for making calls, they resided in the nook, alongside a notepad and pen for messages or numbers. Some nooks even featured a small built-in seat or bench, creating a dedicated spot for conversations. This was crucial before cordless phones, as you were tethered to the wall. Today, phone nooks find new life. Many display antique phones as a historical nod, while others use them as shelves for keys, mail, or decor. They're charming reminders of a time when communication was a more intentional, less mobile activity. What creative repurposing of phone nooks have you encountered? The Laundry Chute. Gravity-powered convenience. Many homeowners long for the return of this next feature, the Laundry Chute. If you're fortunate enough to have one in an older, multi-story home, you know it's magic. Imagine, instead of hauling heavy laundry baskets downstairs, you simply open a small door, usually in a hallway or bathroom, and drop your dirty clothes down a chute. Gravity takes over, delivering everything directly to the laundry room below, often in the basement. These chutes were particularly popular in the early to mid-20th century, reflecting a focus on household efficiency in multi-level homes. It was a brilliantly simple solution to a tedious chore. The chutes themselves were typically smooth metal or wood, designed to prevent snagging. The doors were hinged and placed conveniently, yet discreetly. Their disappearance is attributed to safety concerns, especially for children, and changing home layouts, with laundry rooms often now on the same floor as bedrooms. However, their undeniable convenience has led some homeowners to reintroduce them as custom features. Perhaps a full-scale laundry chute revival is on the horizon. Coal chute doors, delivering heat, one shovel at a time. Let's move on to another curious feature found near the foundation of many older homes. A small, often cast-iron door, low to the ground. This seemingly insignificant access panel is a coal chute door, a relic from a time when coal was the primary heating fuel. Before central heating, keeping homes warm, especially in winter, meant relying on coal. Imagine the mess and effort of hauling heavy, dusty coal bags through your front door regularly. The coal chute offered a far cleaner solution. Deliverymen, using trucks or earlier horse-drawn wagons, would shovel coal directly through this door. The coal then slid down a chute, typically angled metal or wood, into the basement, conveniently stored near the furnace. This ingenious system kept the dirt and dust outside and streamlined deliveries, saving coal men from navigating stairs or risking damage to the home's interior. Homeowners would then shovel coal from the basement pile into the furnace as needed. It was laborious, but standard for decades. With the rise of natural gas and oil, coal chutes became obsolete. Many are now sealed, bricked over, or remain as charming historical reminders. Landline phone jacks, a network of connections. Speaking of landlines, let's talk about those little square outlets you might find scattered throughout an older home, landline phone jacks. Before cell phones became ubiquitous, having multiple phone jacks was almost a necessity. Think about it. If you only had one phone jack in the kitchen and someone was on a call, no one else in the house could use the phone. Having jacks in multiple rooms, bedrooms, living rooms, even hallways allowed family members to answer calls or make calls from wherever they were in the house. Some homes even had multiple phone lines, especially if someone worked from home or if teenagers demanded their own private number, a major status symbol back in the day. Each line would require its own set of jacks. The wiring for these jacks was typically run through the walls during construction, creating a network of phone connections throughout the house. It was a relatively simple system, but it was essential for keeping everyone connected. Today, most of these jacks are unused, often hidden behind furniture or painted over. Some homeowners might still keep a landline for emergencies or for a home office, but for the most part, they're relics of a pre-digital era. They're a physical reminder of how much our communication habits have changed in a relatively short period. Transom windows, light and ventilation before AC. Look up above the doorways in an older home, and you might see a small, often rectangular window. This is a transom window, and it served a very important purpose before air conditioning and electric lighting became commonplace. Transom windows provided two key benefits: light and ventilation. In the days before electricity, natural light was essential, and transom windows allowed light to pass from one room to another, brightening up interior spaces that might otherwise be dark and gloomy. Many transom windows could also be opened, allowing for air circulation. This was particularly important in the summer months, when homes could become hot and stuffy. Opening the transom windows created a cross breeze, helping to cool the house and improve ventilation. Transom windows were often quite decorative, featuring stained glass, etched glass, or intricate grillwork. They added a touch of elegance to the home while also serving a practical purpose. While modern homes rely on electric lighting and HVAC systems, transom windows are still valued for their aesthetic appeal and their ability to bring natural light into a space. Some homeowners are even incorporating them into new construction as a nod to the past and a way to enhance the beauty and functionality of their homes. Knob and tube wiring, a shocking reminder of the past. Now, let's delve into something hidden within the walls of very old houses: knob and tube wiring. This early electrical system, prevalent from the 1880s to the 1930s, was a pioneering method for bringing electricity into homes. The setup was straightforward. Single insulated copper wires ran through walls and ceilings, secured by ceramic knobs. Where wires passed through wooden framing, ceramic tubes provided insulation, preventing contact and fire hazards. While considered safe at the time, it's drastically outdated by modern standards. A major issue is the lack of a ground wire, significantly increasing the risk of shocks and fires. The wire insulation also tends to become brittle and crack with age, exposing live conductors. Furthermore, knob and tube was designed for the significantly lower electrical demands of the early 20th century. Today's appliances and electronics draw far more power, making overloading these old circuits extremely dangerous. Although some older homes retain knob and tube, electricians overwhelmingly advise replacing it with a modern, grounded system for safety. It's a fascinating historical artifact, but a serious potential hazard in a contemporary home. Wall plates, anchor plates more than just decoration. Those seemingly decorative metal plates, stars, crosses, or simple rectangles on old brick or stone houses. They're actually crucial structural elements called wall plates or anchor plates, precursors to modern rebar. Before reinforced concrete and steel framing, buildings were vulnerable to shifting and outward bowing. These plates were connected to long iron tie rods running through the walls, acting like enormous internal staples. Imagine a threaded rod spanning the wall's width, with these plates on each end, tightened to hold everything securely. This was vital for multi-story buildings or areas with unstable soil, where the building's weight and settling could cause bulging or even collapse. Wall plates and tie rods counteracted this, distributing the load and preventing failure. Placement wasn't random. It was carefully calculated based on building design and stress points, often more frequent on taller walls and near corners areas of greatest risk. Modern techniques, steel-reinforced concrete, stronger mortars, advanced engineering, rendered them obsolete, but they remain a testament to past builders' ingenuity. Push-button light switches, a touch of vintage charm, with a catch. Push-button light switches are another feature that might evoke a sense of nostalgia. These switches, common in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, had two buttons, one to turn the light on and one to turn it off. They were considered a step up from the earlier rotary switches, offering a more modern and streamlined look. They were often made of brass or other decorative materials, adding a touch of elegance to the home. However, these switches had a notorious flaw: they were prone to sticking. The internal mechanism could wear out over time, causing the buttons to get stuck in either the on or off position. This wasn't just inconvenient, it could also be a fire hazard if the switch overheated due to a faulty connection. Despite their drawbacks, push-button switches are still sought after by people restoring historic homes or those who want to add a touch of vintage charm to their decor. Modern reproductions are available, using updated materials and mechanisms that eliminate the sticking problem while retaining the classic look. Type yes in the comments if you're planning to stick around for the whole video. Ice doors. Keeping cool before refrigeration. Encounter a small, insulated door on an old house's exterior, often near the kitchen, with a second locking door inside. You've likely found an ice door, a relic from the pre-refrigeration era. Before electric fridges, people used ice boxes, insulated cabinets holding large ice blocks to keep food cold. The ice came from regular deliveries by an iceman, similar to milk deliveries. To avoid messes and melting, homes had these special ice doors. The iceman opened the outer door, placed the ice inside, often a metal-lined compartment, and closed it. Inside, the homeowner opened the inner door to access the ice for their icebox. This ingenious system kept the house clean and the icebox cold longer by minimizing warm air exposure. It was crucial for food preservation. That's why some older folks still call refrigerators iceboxes. These doors are rare now, but offer a fascinating look at pre-modern food storage. Razor blade disposal slots. Out of sight, out of mind, but still there. Here's a feature that might surprise you. A tiny slot in the wall of an older bathroom, usually inside the medicine cabinet. It's not a mail slot, and it's not for ventilation. It's a razor blade disposal slot. Before disposable razors and cartridge systems became common, men used double-edged safety razors. These razors required frequent blade changes, and the used blades were incredibly sharp. Throwing them in the trash was a safety hazard, both for the person taking out the trash and for sanitation workers. The solution? A small slot in the medicine cabinet, leading to the empty space within the wall cavity. Used razor blades could be safely dropped into the slot, disappearing from sight and preventing accidental cuts. It was a simple and effective solution, but it also created a hidden problem. Many older homes now have a collection of rusty razor blades accumulating inside their walls. It's not uncommon for homeowners to discover these during renovations, a slightly unsettling reminder of past grooming habits. While these slots are no longer used, they're a quirky detail that you might encounter in an older home. Just be careful if you ever decide to open up those walls. Servant floor buttons, summoning service with a step. Speaking of servants, here's another feature you might find in a very grand, old home. A small button embedded in the floor, often hidden under a rug or near the dining table. This is a servant floor button, a discreet way for the homeowner to summon assistance without having to raise their voice or leave their seat. These buttons were typically connected to a system of bells or buzzers in the servants' quarters or kitchen. A simple press of the foot would alert the staff that they were needed, perhaps to clear the table, serve the next course, or attend to some other request. It was a way to maintain a sense of formality and decorum during meals and social gatherings. The homeowner could signal for service without interrupting the conversation or drawing attention to the fact that they were summoning the staff. Most of these buttons are no longer functional, but they remain as a subtle reminder of a time when household service was a common and expected part of life for the wealthy. Pittsburgh Potties, function over form. This one might be the most unusual feature on our list, the Pittsburgh Potty. If you've ever been in the basement of an older home, particularly in industrial cities like Pittsburgh, hence the name, you might have encountered a lone toilet, sitting out in the open, with no walls, no privacy, and often no sink nearby. What's the story here? It's all about practicality. These basement toilets were primarily used by steelworkers, miners, and other laborers who came home covered in dirt, grime, and industrial residue. Instead of tracking that mess through the house, they could enter through the basement, use the toilet, and often a nearby utility sink or makeshift shower to clean up before heading upstairs. It was a way to keep the main living areas of the house cleaner and more sanitary. It also provided a convenient place for workers to relieve themselves without having to go upstairs, especially if they were in the middle of a dirty job. These toilets weren't about luxury or comfort, they were about function. They were often basic, no-frills fixtures, sometimes just a toilet and nothing else. Today, most Pittsburgh potties have been removed, enclosed to provide some privacy, or simply left and used as a quirky reminder of the past. But they offer a fascinating glimpse into the lives of working-class families and the practical considerations that shaped home design. Root Cellars, nature's refrigerator. Here's the rewritten section on root cellars, aiming for around 150 to 160 words in English. Before the convenience of electric refrigerators, preserving food, especially during extreme temperatures, was a major challenge. The solution for many was the root cellar. A root cellar is essentially an underground or partially underground space designed for stable, cool temperatures and humidity, perfect for storing fruits, vegetables, and other perishables. The earth provides natural insulation, keeping the space cool in summer and preventing freezing in winter. Proper ventilation was also key, circulating air and preventing moisture buildup, which could cause spoilage. Some root cellars were separate structures, dug into hillsides or the ground, while others were designated basement areas. They were often lined with stone, brick, or concrete to enhance temperature stability. Root cellars were crucial for storing harvests, providing families with produce year-round. They also stored preserved meats, cheeses, and even wine. While largely replaced by refrigerators, root cellars remain in use, particularly in rural areas or by those pursuing sustainable living. They represent the ingenuity of past generations in utilizing natural resources. Ceiling beds, disappearing beds, space-saving innovation. Have you ever seen a bed descend from the ceiling? While it might sound like something out of a science fiction movie, these disappearing beds or ceiling beds were a real thing, and they were a clever solution to the problem of limited living space. These beds were a competitor to the more famous Murphy bed, which folds up into a wall cabinet. Instead of folding up, ceiling beds were mounted on a counterweight system hidden within the walls. A hand crank or a system of pulleys would allow the bed to be lowered from the ceiling for sleeping and raised back up during the day, freeing up floor space. Foldable legs would often extend down to provide support and stability when the bed was in the lowered position. It was a surprisingly elegant and efficient system, and it was particularly popular in small apartments or homes where space was at a premium. These beds were patented in the early 1900s, but they never achieved the same widespread popularity as Murphy beds. However, with the recent resurgence of interest in tiny homes and space-saving furniture, the concept of the ceiling bed is making a small comeback. Modern versions often use electric motors and remote controls, but the basic principle remains the same. Reclaim valuable floor space by storing the bed out of sight when it's not needed. Dumbwaiters, miniature elevators for household goods. If you've ever been in a large, older home, you might have come across a small, enclosed shaft with a door on each floor. It might look like a tiny closet, but it's actually a dumbwaiter, a miniature elevator designed for transporting food, dishes, laundry, and other household items between floors. Dumbwaiters were especially common in grand homes with multiple stories, where the kitchen was often located on a different floor from the dining room. Instead of having servants carry heavy trays up and down stairs, the dumbwaiter provided a much more efficient way to move things around. Most dumbwaiters were operated by a system of ropes and pulleys, allowing them to be raised and lowered manually. Some were even equipped with counterweights to make lifting heavier loads easier. They were also used in some commercial buildings, such as hotels and restaurants, to transport food and supplies between floors. While dumbwaiters are less common today, they haven't completely disappeared. Some modern homes are incorporating them as a convenient way to move laundry or groceries between floors. And, of course, many older homes still have their original dumbwaiters, often repurposed as storage spaces or simply left as a curious historical feature. Servant stairs, hidden passageways for the staff. In grand, older homes, you might notice two sets of staircases, a main, grand staircase for the family and guests, and a narrower, more discreet staircase, often tucked away near the kitchen or service areas. These were the servant stairs, designed to keep the household staff out of sight while they went about their duties. In the 18th and 19th centuries, and even into the early 20th century, a strict social hierarchy was often maintained within wealthy households. Servants were expected to be efficient and unobtrusive, and the servant stairs provided a way for them to move between floors without disrupting the family or their guests. These staircases were often steeper and narrower than the main stairs, built for function rather than comfort. They might lead to the kitchen, pantry, laundry room, servants' quarters, or other service areas of the house. Today, servant stairs are a reminder of a very different social order. They're often found in historic homes and mansions, and they offer a glimpse into the lives of both the wealthy families and the people who worked for them. Milk doors, fresh milk delivered daily. Remember those small, insulated doors we talked about earlier, the ice doors? Well, there's another type of small door you might find on the side of an older house, a milk door. Before widespread refrigeration and readily available grocery stores, fresh milk was often delivered daily to homes by a milkman. The milk door provided a convenient and sanitary way for the milkman to deliver the milk without having to enter the house or leave the bottles exposed to the elements. The milkman would open the small door, place the full bottles of milk inside, and retrieve the empty bottles from the previous delivery. The homeowner could then access the fresh milk from inside the house, usually from a small compartment near the kitchen or pantry. Some milk doors were even insulated to help keep the milk cool for a short period. It was a simple but effective system, and it was a part of daily life for many families for decades. As home refrigeration became more common and supermarkets offered a wider selection of dairy products, milk delivery services declined, and milk doors became obsolete. But they remain as a charming reminder of a time when fresh, local food was a staple of the daily diet. Picture rails, hanging art without damaging walls. If you look closely at the walls of an older home, you might notice a thin strip of molding running horizontally along the upper part of the wall, a few feet below the ceiling. This is a picture rail, and it was a clever solution to the problem of hanging artwork without damaging delicate plaster walls. Before drywall became common, walls were often made of plaster, which could be easily cracked or chipped if you tried to drive a nail directly into it. The picture rail provided a sturdy and reliable way to hang pictures, mirrors, and other decorative items without damaging the walls. Hooks could be attached to the picture rail and moved along its length, allowing for easy adjustment and rearrangement of artwork. Cords or wires were then used to hang the pictures from the hooks. It was a flexible and versatile system, and it allowed homeowners to change their decor frequently without having to worry about patching holes in the walls. Picture rails gradually fell out of favor as drywall became the standard wall material, as it's much easier to drive nails into drywall without causing damage. But picture rails are still appreciated for their aesthetic appeal and their practicality, and some people are bringing them back into modern homes as a way to add a touch of vintage charm and flexibility to their decor. Home intercom systems, room-to-room communication. Let's talk about a feature that might seem a bit dated but was once considered a high-tech convenience, the home intercom system. These systems, common in homes built in the mid-20th century, allowed family members to communicate with each other from different rooms or different floors of the house without having to yell. The intercom system typically consisted of a master station, usually located in the kitchen or a central hallway, and several substations located in other rooms. Each substation had a speaker and a microphone, allowing for two-way communication. Some systems even included a front door intercom, allowing homeowners to speak to visitors before opening the door. It was a precursor to modern video doorbells, providing a sense of security and convenience. Intercom systems were particularly useful in larger homes, where it could be difficult to hear someone calling from another part of the house. They were also a fun way for kids to communicate with each other, pretending to be spies or astronauts. With the rise of cell phones and smart home technology, traditional intercom systems have become largely obsolete. But they remain as a reminder of a time when home communication was a bit more wired. Pocket doors offered an ingenious solution for flexible living spaces, allowing homeowners to enjoy the openness of a modern floor plan while retaining the ability to create privacy when desired. Unlike conventional swinging doors that require clearance to operate, pocket doors slide directly into the wall cavity, disappearing completely. This makes them exceptionally well-suited for smaller rooms or areas where space is at a premium, as they don't intrude on the usable floor area. While particularly common in older homes, pocket doors have seen a decline in popularity in recent construction. This is somewhat surprising, given their practicality and stylish appearance, offering a way to divide rooms without the space consumption of traditional doors. Considering the increasing emphasis on efficient and space-saving home designs, particularly in smaller dwellings and urban environments, pocket doors are arguably overdue for a significant resurgence in popularity. They represent a blend of classic design and modern practicality, a combination that is increasingly valuable in contemporary homes. If you've wandered through an older home, you've likely noticed its distinct layout: smaller, often oddly shaped rooms, separated by numerous doors. This contrasts sharply with the open floor plans favored today. Older homes prioritized privacy and energy efficiency, a stark difference from modern design trends. In previous eras, creating easily closed-off spaces was crucial for maintaining privacy, especially during guest visits. Each room served a specific, defined purpose, and doors ensured that conversations and activities in one area didn't intrude upon others. This compartmentalization was about more than just privacy. It played a vital role in temperature regulation. Before modern HVAC systems, homes relied on fireplaces, stoves, and basic ventilation. Closing doors between rooms allowed for concentrated heating in occupied areas, preventing energy waste in unused spaces. Similarly, this design helped retain cooler air during warmer months. While contemporary open-concept homes emphasize spaciousness, the carefully planned layouts of older houses highlight how functional design can enhance comfort and efficiency in daily living. So, there you have it, 20 forgotten home features that offer a glimpse into the past and a reminder of how homes have evolved over time. From the practical to the quirky, these features tell a story about the ingenuity, resourcefulness, and changing lifestyles of previous generations. Which of these features would you bring back if you could? And have you encountered any other unusual or interesting features in older homes? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.